Oh, Rouser, E. West, Helen, Tom Snell. Rouser, can you confirm that I'm coming through clearly, please? And then there's Rick. Yeah, I just need a vocal confirmation that my voice is clear. You guys can hear me, right? Okay, good. Good, good. Just want to make sure my microphone's working appropriately. Whew. How is everyone doing today? Oh, here, Rick, let's get this out of the way before we have to do a Zoom later. And then we'll bring in. There we go. Okay.
It worked. We scared the gods of charter communications / spectrum / infinity / whatever.
Okay. I feel much better now.
Yeah.
I just wanted to check. I just wanted to check before we get started.
It worked. Now I'm all right. If you want me to drop off and come back, I can do that.
No. I want to. I will say, and I'm going to tell everybody this. The purpose of the session. I have now changed the name of the session to Voices of Diverse America, because I think it attracts people to actually join the lives. So that means that I want to continue to have binary, trinary conversations with people. That means that yes, as long as you're willing, please be willing to continue to
Sure.
Yep. Please continue to be willing to engage in live discussion because everybody can say this that's on the live right now. Do you like binary conversation, or do you like to just hear me rant and rave like a stupid bitch? I mean, if Elaine were here, she'd say that I'm not. I shouldn't down talk myself or whatever. But okay. Lynn and Anne, of course. So that totally tracks. But whenever we get somebody new and then I read their profile and it actually looks really cool, like I want to invite them into the session so that we can talk to warm up for a little bit or whatever. And let's just ask that question. How are you feeling today, Rick?
I'll tell you, I've had a hell of a day, just on multiple levels. I planned on publishing this morning and ended up running into. I'm sure you've had days like this where nothing works technically, nothing works. Whatever can possibly break is broken or breaks in front of you. So I spent a lot of that, and then followed by taking my dad to a doctor appointment that I would rather be sitting in a dentist chair with no anesthesia at all for hours than doing that, because at 89 he is so grumpy at the whole thought that everything is like he's like a mule that just digs in and he doesn't want to do anything. So he's not the kind old man. He's total other end of spectrum. plus there's a 120-mile round trip drive to get there. So and back. So I just woke up from finally getting some sleep, and I hopefully I hope the stock market's still there. And
Um, yeah, when I had checked the market before I checked the market this morning.
yeah.
When I was doing the morning roundup before I published it or whatever, and it was floating right at 39,425. I did not check to see what it closed at. I'm a little scared to. It closed at 39,142.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, we're trending back down into the hole. Which I mean, I don't necessarily think that could be I don't think that's a good thing.
Right. I agree.
So I'm like, well, okay. I really loved my retirement.
Yeah. But now, who knows? It's a tough situation for so many people, and I feel really, just in hopes that there aren't too many on this call that are having financial worries and stress, because I know exactly what kind of pain that feels. We all, I'm sure to some degree do, of that situation when things are bad, and it's it's such a pointless, circular, self-inflicted situation that we're in, that I can't, it's all these things that we've said 1,000 times and thought 10,000 times to ourselves. And I just, it's like, I wonder, it's like, is there another universe where it branched off on January 20th and there's a whole planet full of people that aren't, going through this right now in some alternate space, that that are actually having a decent, month of April, and never heard of, Donald Trump just disappeared off the face of the earth, and we're all good. I don't know, but
I mean, I hate to say this, but Donald Trump, from my perspective, proves that time travel does not exist. because if time travel existed, some asshole 100 years from now would have already got back in time and said, "Fuck this."
We'd be like, who? Trump who?
Who? Oh, you mean that real estate guy?
Yeah,
he got assassinated like 25 years ago.
Right, he's dead now. Anyway. And Elon Musk too. Somebody put that out there. So.
Yeah. Time travel doesn't exist, because if it did, all the assholes in the world wouldn't exist.
Yeah. Oh, Long Island, Andy. I lived across from there in Norwalk, in Connecticut. So for a while, so I was pretty close, and oh God, yeah.
Craig, did you hear my sperm bank joke from earlier? Elon Musk is offering semen to people that want it, and so I said, well, what Elon Musk needs to do is he needs to buy Jack in the Box and turn Jack in the Box into his donor bank, because the name is already perfect.
Yeah. So how are you doing? It's probably been a good day for you too, Wendy. What's up? So how things are?
Everybody knows what's going on down in Florida, right? Do you know about Florida?
I don't.
Okay. So around 12 noon today, there was a shooting at Florida State University.
Oh.
And 2 people were killed, 5 people were injured. The 2 people that were killed were non-students. Um, and then the 5 others that were shot are hospitalized, and they've identified the shooter. But get this: the shooter, his mom works for the sheriff's department. He committed the crime with her old service weapon.
Oh my God.
So he had access to a gun,
Mm-hmm.
not just one gun, many.
Wow.
And then on top of that, he went before he was a college student. He in high school or whatever, he was the leader of the policeman's auxiliaries program at his high school.
Wow.
So his name is Phoenix Eichner. Now, when all of my trans friends were like, Phoenix Eichner, oh, that means it's going to turn out to be a trans person or whatever. And then this is Florida. First of all, this is Florida. That ain't going to happen. And so, as it turns out, no, he does not look like he's a trans person. Although I'm certain the establishment is going to find some way to blame trans people for this bullshit. But Turnbucket Trump came out and said, while he, by the way, was jizzing on top of the Second Amendment, that the gun doesn't do the shooting, people do the shooting.
Oh God, that thing. I hate that saying. And
so
wow. That's just insane. These guys should just have a mandatory fucking 48-hour gag order go right over their mouths the minute something terrible happens. That's so.
I mean, I'm a queer person. I could think of ways to gag the president.
Yeah, I'm sure you could. But, no worries there. But I was an act of an imagination. But wow, oh my goodness, wow.
Yeah, it's a wreck. And so from earlier in the morning, U.S. Attorney Pam Bondi announced that there's a lawsuit with, by the way, the bullshit claim that Bondi and the Department of Justice is fighting for women, where they're going to sue the state of Maine for their inability to follow Trump's directives around the trans athletes thing. And so here's the thing about this. This needs a larger discussion. And so the larger discussion around this is this. Janet Mills basically came out and said, today is the latest expected salvo in an unprecedented campaign to pressure the state of Maine to ignore its constitution. This matter has never been about school sports or the protection of women or girls. It's, as it has been claimed, it's about states' rights, and it's a states' rights issue. So this comes down to what power does the federal government have to enforce a state to amend its state constitution? So you could tell me I'm wrong here. Here's the theory I have.
Yeah.
Specific to the Constitution, there is no specific language in the Constitution that validates or invalidates a queer or trans person.
No.
That language does not exist. Right. So the accepted means for which the government can, assert that is not right, in my opinion. In other words, I don't think that the federal government can tell the state of Maine, you have to change the Constitution. Because the only way they can do that is if there is a provision in the Constitution that a state constitution is breaking. And so that's the question.
Yeah. So is that really the center of the issue in this case?
Yeah.
Okay. Because to me it was the last I'd heard, or the last part of it that I picked up on, was it was a hey, the Justice Department is telling Maine to do something with respect to a transgender person on a athletic team, and that was it. It was like, thou shalt. They were coming in with the heavy hand and saying we have precedent here, and they didn't. That was the bottom line that I gathered from it was no, there was no statutory override in that in that particular case that took precedent constitutionally or United States code wise that said we have the we have the ball here up in the federal, and so you guys in the state are no, that doesn't exist as far as I know. Because if it did, they would have fought that war in California. They would have fought it in Oregon. They would have fought it in Washington. I'm just running through my list of states in my head where that would have already have happened, and
Yeah.
that didn't. That didn't. As far as
So
I know,
here, so here is what I know. So if a state constitution violates constitutional law, so the first thing that happens is the supremacy clause. That's
yeah,
Article 4 of the Constitution, which states the federal law is the supreme law of the land.
right,
So when a state constitutional provision conflicts with federal law, that clause can nullify that
yeah,
element of the state constitution. That's not the case here that I can detect.
no,
Judicial review. The Supreme Court can declare a state constitutional provision unconstitutional, but that's the language. It has
right,
to prove that the state constitution's provision is itself unconstitutional. I don't think
yeah,
that happens.
no, and
No.
that would require a specific ruling, a case
Yes.
precedent, all that good stuff,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Congressional enforcement can happen, but congressional enforcement, while they have certain enforcing powers, particularly under the 14th Amendment, which guarantees the authority to enforce constitutional rights against state violations through appropriate legislation, is still bound by the body of the Constitution, which is not the case here. So,
Right.
so in this case, we're back to it just being a states' rights issue.
Yeah, and there's absolutely no. See, here's the thing I've wanted to see play out for a while since Trump, since Russell vote and that clown fuckery of people that authored Project 2025 came out of from under a rock and decided that executive orders were such a handy little tool to legislate where there is no legislation. I wanted to have executive orders completely shut. I wanted somebody to test it and actually declare those fucking things as unconstitutional against the Constitution, because I don't know of any. If you talk, we get into specifics about it. Trump has issued what 150, 200, something like that. 100, I don't know, a whole shitload of those, right? And it's an interesting it's an interesting situation because I've wondered if all of these things about the modifying of language and stuff that's right in the orbit of free speech and a bunch of other kind of amendment clause or constitutional type things seems to be really skirting on that stuff and taking a piss on it and saying, yeah, well, when is somebody going to come up there and just shoot directly at a EO as a concept, as a legal tool, and say it's not fucking valid, guys? You can federal register that shit until the cows come home and wearing panties, and it's still ain't going to be legal. So get rid of them, if it's not gone through Congress, it's not an actionable law. It's just a preference. It's like maybe I can follow it, maybe I won't, but it certainly would not override as an executive action any state constitutional boundary or parameter. I can't see how it would, because it's not legislated. That's
No.
the problem, right? And I've had that problem since January 20th when that motherfucker started signing his name and that psychotic signature he is. And I'm like, You can put that thing on as much as you want. You can write it on your fucking toilet paper in the White House. It doesn't matter. And it does.
He
Yay!
probably does.
Good for you, right? So I don't put much weight into it at all, and so I don't know what you got. Maybe I'm pontificating on something that is not that big of a deal, but it's just we're inventing law out of whole cloth and allowing a guy who sits in an office, and there is nothing John Adams would have ever imagined. I mean, I've read in every biography, he would never have envisioned giving that kind of latitude to a single human being, for the simple reason that when those guys were drafting up the Constitution, they were studying all the other use cases of governments that had these various problems with the loopholes in the Constitution, things that have been exploited in other parliamentary monarchies and things like that. And they're trying to sew each and every one. I mean, I can't imagine how many hours in the tavern they spent at night just going, shit, what about this? What's this crazy thing, right?
They
What's
never
gonna
did.
so I'm like,
So let me just stop you right there. So yeah, so from the executive order perspective, this is very clear. The Constitution is very clear about this. An executive order, and we're about to find out, by the way, because the Supreme Court announced today they're going to hear oral arguments for birthright citizenship.
oh, wow.
So, but here's what the Constitution says.
What's the case?
They didn't
What lawsuit are they hearing?
So they're hearing Trump's executive order and birthright citizenship.
But is there a lawsuit around it? That's my question.
Yeah. Basically, the Trump administration was sued for filing an executive order that implicitly nullified the 14th Amendment.
Okay. So there is an actual case law thing going on.
Yeah.
Okay. Somewhere.
everything right now.
Okay.
So here's how it works. This is what the Constitution says. The Constitution says that an executive order cannot nullify, change, or otherwise abridge the Constitution. Can't do that. Here's another thing an executive order can't do. An executive order cannot nullify an existing law. It might be able to create a new law. It cannot nullify an existing law.
But the Supreme Court interprets the law.
Yes.
That's
yes.
the problem.
Yes. And so, and to Lynn's point, let me be clear about this. Because of the ability for SCOTUS to interpret the law, we've been here before, by the way. There are people that have challenged the 14th Amendment like a few different times, and in the 70s even, when the civil rights bullshit was going on. There was at least one SCOTUS case where they tried to say we're going to nullify the 14th Amendment.
Yeah.
Because we don't want black people to be citizens. Or there was some crazy off the wall bullshit. Or no. It was like it was an immigrant. And did an immigrant have the right to have due process? So it was a 14th Amendment case, and then it was a Fourth Amendment case. But anyway, but
if that's already been adjudicated, then why is there not? I mean, why is this going on now?
That shouldn't be a retread, right?
Well, it shouldn't be a retread, but I think the court is going to allow the arguments to happen. But I when it comes down to, exactly, Anne. Although in the case of Roe v. Wade, remember, Roe v. Wade was settled law. That's not constitutional. They did not constitutionally amend abortion into the Constitution. This is a different story entirely. But depending on how that SCOTUS case goes in May, will sort of tell us how the fuck this is going to go. Because here is Wendy's cautious optimism. I think when forced to do so, the Supreme Court will not want to fuck around with the Constitution. I literally think they will not want to do that. And if they do, we're going to have a really bad problem. And then, here's the thing. It's going to happen again because CBS is going to file a lawsuit against the FCC if the FCC tries to yank their broadcast license, which is a First Amendment issue.
Right.
And if that goes all the way up to SCOTUS and SCOTUS decides against it and says that the freedom of the press is bullshit, then we're fucked.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
Now it's time to leave the country.
Oh, it was, for me, it was time to leave a while ago. So like,
Not really. And unfortunately, old and being retired is not a good look when you try to leave the country.
Yeah, right. No, look, I completely agree. But I think that people have asked me this fairly repetitively. Someone asked me that today, actually. They said, Wendy, what do you think is going to happen? It was one of my kids. How long is it going to take for us to get into a constitutional crisis? I'm like, well, here's the thing. The birthright citizenship issue and anything that has to do with the First Amendment, so the freedom of the press issue, if we haven't already gone into a constitutional crisis, that's going to put us there.
Yeah.
And
oh man.
What'd you say, Lynn?
Martial law. No, if that happens, that may also be something that may come up.
So we talked about this yesterday. So with martial law, here's the thing about martial law. Yeah, martial law, that's a Joint Chiefs issue. Trump has to have the backing of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, all of them.
Oh.
So the Joint Chief was a Donald Trump appointee. The others, the Chief of the Army, the Chief of the Navy, the Chief of the Air Force, all of those guys are Biden appointees. So I think if the Joint Chiefs take a vote, they're not going to do it.
So back when Bush did it was, for the riots that were out in California.
Yeah.
Did he have the approval?
Yeah. He had enough people that agreed that, okay, this needs to happen. It's fucked up. But
are we going to talk about? Because I did walk over to the computer this afternoon before I crashed, and I saw that Trump lost his shit in a wall. I opened up the Wall Street Journal, and I saw he lost his shit about the Jerome Powell comments. He said termination could come faster.
Yeah.
Are we going to talk about that? Because that's by way of indirection. That's kind of the same.
No, we need to talk about that because
I'm not trying
first
to
of all,
subjects.
No. That's actually a very. So let's ask Lynn. If Donald Trump calls for the termination of Jerome Powell, do you think that could happen? Yes or no?
No.
Okay, you're exactly right. The Fed operates entirely and unilaterally outside of the scope of the government, and it's made that way for a reason. So Trump can't fire him.
Does he have a term?
He has a term, and it's 14 years.
From now?
No, it's like 14 years from before. But here's the thing. Trump's term as president will be over before Jerome Powell's term is up.
Your mouth.
No, I'm not fucking around. So under the Constitution and following government regulation, Trump can't fire him. He can say he wants to fire him. He can't fire him.
He also can't tax exempt status either, can he?
So that's the Harvard thing. So Trump has come out and said he wants to rip up IRS tax exemptions And he's specific. Here, I have a thing about this.
This should be good. Okay.
So I have a thing about this, and you're gonna like give me this really fucking shitty ass look, but you're just wait, okay? So Trump wants to review IRS tax exemptions because in his brain, tax exempt status is a privilege, not a right.
Oh.
Yeah. It's a privilege to have tax exempt status. So with that verbiage, what happens if he can even do it? And I don't think that he can. What happens if it's not just universities he goes after, but churches? Because churches are the largest body of tax exempt entities in the United States.
Oh, but you can't do that.
No.
Yeah.
I
Now,
know the term, but I mean, unless we never have to vote again,
I mean, so here's the thing, like, yeah, if he
right.
But if he threatened that, like if he threatened Joel Osteen's ability to not be tax free, holy shit, that's a lot of people that aren't going to like Donald Trump for very much longer.
That's so true.
So, Lynn, you and I live in Georgia, so that means you and I both know about the Reverend Creflo Dollar.
Oh yes,
that's the largest. That is the largest. Yes, the largest church in the state of Georgia is Creflo Dollar's church. The only one.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, his church property is like $24.5 million. It's a $24 million property. The only one that's close, and it's not larger, is the Woodstock First Baptist. That's Johnny Hunt's church up in Woodstock, Georgia. But Creflo, like if Creflo Dollar's tax exempt status ever got threatened, holy shit. That's a lot of people that are going to like Donald Trump for very much longer.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not great. It's not great.
So yeah, and I don't deal with that area of the law very often. So I'm curious where that exempt. I remember I was gonna I was gonna file for a tax exempt organization LLC, and I just glanced at the law on it, and I know that at the where I'm from in Ohio, there's that they set the actual parameters of whether or not I would be allowed to, have a tax exempt organization. I mean, I'm not saying the IRS doesn't have something to say about it. It's that this IRS follows the lead of the state, and the state takes about 12 to 14 months to decide, and you're not tax exempt during that initial period while they're deciding to see if you're actually operating as a tax exempt thing. And then they tell the feds, and the feds say, okay, we trust you, Ohio, government, go, whatever your ruling is what we'll go with. So I'm curious how that, I don't even know how the hell that gets implemented.
So here's the thing about that. Give me just a second because I'm updating somebody. So here's the thing about that. Trump, let me bring my notes. The U.S. president does not have the ability to unilaterally revoke tax exempt status of any organization in the U.S. His legal authority, the authority to grant or revoke tax exempt status, is established entirely by the IRC, so the Internal Revenue Code, not presidential power. So the IRS, not the president, is responsible for administering those regulations.
But
right. So then it's a matter of how much control does Trump have over the IRS? Here's the thing. Tax exempt status can be revoked, but only under certain conditions. One of them fails to meet the qualifying criteria for tax exemption, violates specific prohibitions, and this is where it's going to get dicey, such as political campaign activity for 501c organizations. So if you're a nonprofit organization and you donate to campaigns and shit, then you might be in violation. That might revoke. But then also a failure to file required forms for 3 consecutive years. So you have to fuck up your tax exempt filing because you have to do that every year. If you do it 3 years in a row, they'll revoke it. Any other regulation, any other stipulation, that's it. He can't, I'm going to revoke this no. So that's not going to fly. If he tries to revoke the tax exempt status for certain entities, the courts are going to chew him up.
Does he not even check in at all?
No. Nope.
Oh, fuck that. No way.
No. No, Lynn, that would require him to read. And our president doesn't read shit.
Or ask somebody he can agree with.
Yes.
Well, sorry, Lynn, I got a comment there because I'll tell you what, I honestly think after I watched Stephen Miller get up in front and do his shit that he pulled the other day at that press conference, I think Stephen Miller is one of those people that Trump runs to and goes, "Is this legal?" And Stephen Miller, without thinking a second thought, offers his opinion. But that guy does not have a Juris Doctor at all. He is not a lawyer. And most people, when I tell them that, they're like, "Oh, wait, he's not?" And I'm like, no, not at all. He does not have a law degree. He's not passed a single bar exam. He doesn't know. He's not qualified to say shit about any of that. And I think that whole orbit of Trump's has got some serious, I mean, look at Navarro, the guy, has an alter ego. What's his name? Ron Vara. And, these fuckheads, he just dreams up and is like, saw it on the box of, back of a box of Cracker Jacks. He goes, "Oh, I like that guy. And let's hire him." And it's like he's built that whole structure around him. And so most people know that they're only as good as their team, and this guy has got the most loser team I have ever seen. Even Russell Vogt is a I'm probably going to get hauled away by men in black suits while we're sitting here talking, but even he is not, he's like a flunky dude, man. He's not a some great legal strategist brain. He's just like, oh, what's the fastest path to drive this government into a ditch and take us back in time as far as possible to the Leave It to Beaver days, so that we can just move on, with we just reset the clock back to 1950 and everybody will be fine. I mean, he's not a forward thinker. He's very, very, very low wattage. The bulb dull, dead fork. I don't have enough fucking ways to insult that guy. I really don't, because he's a dipshit, and I don't have much patience for dipshits in that particular regard. I don't. I'm that's my inner asshole just coming right out. Sorry, guys. I'm normally laid back, but that is. Surrounding yourself with dipshits is just the biggest sin in leadership that any moron at his level should know better, and Trump should know better. So, and no, he hasn't done it. So,
well, there you go. He creates his own reality,
Wow, he does.
Anybody can read that court order from the Supreme Court, and I mean, I just can't even imagine this guy just out and out lying to the president. Well,
yeah.
I mean,
what the fuck, right? Yeah, exactly. And I don't get it. I mean, I get it. What?
I'm not flashing white power symbols when I do this, by the way.
Oh, okay. I wouldn't know.
The Steve Miller thing, had that guy, oh shit. He's like Kurt.
He is like Satan.
He's right up there with Curtis Yarvin. 100%. he and Curtis Yarvin are on the exact same level. The only difference between Curtis Yarvin and Stephen Miller is just an outright neo-Nazi.
Yeah.
Yarvin is a fucking autocratic,
He's somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
He wants to look dark and mysterious in all of his photo ops. So, yeah. But Stephen Miller just wants to look like neo-Nazi fucker. I mean, shaves his head whatever.
I'm pretty sure that Stephen Miller in high school walked around in Doc Martens with rolled up jeans, a shaved head, and red suspenders with the white. Right. And I'm pretty sure he was a skinhead. I'm just going to say it.
Yeah.
See his text.
I am so with you on that, Wendy. I am so with you on that. That guy just makes me itch. Anyway, all right. So, but the whole thing that we're in now is just this shit show of it's misinformation plus badly informed, and then you've got somehow SCOTUS itself kowtowing to some of these harebrained ideas that it itself should almost laugh Trump out of in his DOJ out of the courtroom, because even Pam Bondi, I was doing some research on her background. She's another one of these fuckers that was out of that Heritage Foundation orbit, and not necessarily that one, but something I think like it. And it's like, where the fuck do all these people come from? Where did you dream up this brain trust? It's because there's just one after the other after the other after the other, and I'm not, I'm like, they all need to have a good, verbal spanking from the Supreme Court. Yes, right on the camera, and just get out of our faces with this stupid shit. Why is the Supreme Court's docket being filled up? The emergency docket, which is, oh, by the way, it is pushing other cases that are much more important off the list of shit that will be heard during this Supreme Court's term.
Yeah, they only
hear a fixed
about
number.
70 cases a year.
Right. And there's a reason for that. And every time Trump slaps something new on the emergency docket, I didn't totally understand it until I went to do some pretty serious reading about it. It literally shuts off the pipeline. It's not like they fit those 70 cases in. No, when everything that shows up on the emergency docket deducts one off the other docket, so somebody's case dropped off the end of the list. So it really does have a material impact on what kind of case law gets heard and what kind of precedents are set that are applicable to all courts across the country, and that has a huge bearing, gigantic bearing on the time that judges have to spend around with, whatever, and in terms of precedent law. So.
Well, from my perspective, one of the things that I'm very concerned about is if the Trump administration tries to exhaust the SCOTUS docket and then going into their off session turns around and tries to enforce a bunch of anti-trans shit. There's no Supreme Court to strike it down. And so, I get enough transphobia as it is, not to get fucking more of it. So it really feels like all of this judiciary fluctuating is they're trying to exhaust everything out.
It's a variation. Tell me if you think I'm crazy about this, but I think it's another variation on the whole ban and flood the zone idea, but just aimed at the judiciary. And it scares the shit out of me on a daily basis. I'll tell you, there are very few things that ever really give me pause, and I mean serious pause. But one of them that does is when the last line of defense between us and the world coming to, as we know it, an end is the judiciary branch of the United States, because they don't have an army, they don't have the ability. everything, every bit of their power is paper based, and they have, almost no, we were getting into some weird territory. I couldn't comment too much because I don't think I was having the connection problems yesterday. But we were talking about, deputizing and this and that, and it's like, oh no, that is, I've read constitutional law for years and studied it, and there's just no clean path that would allow the judiciary to enforce its law. It assumes a functioning executive branch, and anything that we're putting on it stress wise, which putting a lot of stress on it, is a little bit. To me, it gives me pause. It's seriously right there with about to break down. So
I want to read something to keep you up at night. I'm reading the book How Civil Wars Start,
yeah,
and,
I've heard of it. Yeah,
and I mean,
Yep.
it goes right down the line of all the dictators, the whole Viktor Orban thing, just
yeah.
point by point by point by point by point. I haven't gotten to the part about how you stop them yet, but but it's depressing reading, and it's very historically based on the juntas in different places that they've had in
Yeah,
Myanmar, and a lot of the things that have gone on in different the whole thing about the Serbs and Croats and the whole thing, and it goes through and it shows how these things have happened in the past, continuing to happen here, and it is just really frightening.
yeah.
So that book is actually a really, really good book to read. There's another one. I can't remember the name of it. I'll find it. It's in my iBook somewhere, and I'm not gonna. I could probably go and find it on my phone. But anyway, but there's another book that you need to read about civil war, how a civil war starts, um, and how civil unrest leads to a civil conflict. And yes, we're right on top of that right now. Um, so, Muddy, who's the author? Lynn, let me.
Of
Of the one
The
I
author, yeah, I forget the author's name.
let me it is Barbara Walter.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Barbara F. Walter, not Walters.
yeah, yeah. Barbara F. Walter. um, Perfect. Um, so yeah, that book is an amazing read. But yeah, here's the thing. I mean,
At the end.
you're going to get to the end, and you're going to be like, "How has this not happened yet?"
Oh,
yeah,
You're literally going to ask, "Why the fuck has this not happened yet?" Or are we there yet?
yeah.
Well,
All these different. We may be getting closer.
yeah,
well, yeah. But here's the thing that I struggle with is that, and there's something, by the way, I don't want, I want to put a placeholder to come back to Miranda, because she's like, how is this? I forget exactly how you worded it, Miranda, but I saw your comment and I replied to it. And I said something about, it was something about, this, all of these are these are framed as distractions around trans people and trans people's rights. And I didn't want to let that one go. But one other thing before we go to that, or before and I'll defer to you, Wendy, on that. But the thing that is really troubling for me is that Civil War, see, everything's okay as long as we're protesting peacefully, right? The minute we cross that line, you have a infinitely superior military force in this country that, without question, we just become dots in a video game on a screen that some guy in a bunker somewhere can zap us out and we're gone in terms of actual resistance to the government. The only thing beyond peaceful resistance that we can do is a general strike to hit the economy that I know of. Now, I'm not the final fucking word by any means. I'm just saying there's not a lot of, you know, realistic options, because if somebody really wants to put us back in our places because we're that pissed, it's like, you know, what really is our recourse here? And I know that there have been, you know, books written about it, but I I I've imagined it in the United States in a lot of different ways, and they're so the way the roads to it are so narrow for us to actually. And I'm sorry. The whole. By the way, I should tell you the whole preface of this was I was reading. My copy of the Declaration of Independence, and I was reading that the other day just to refresh my brain, and I was like, "Holy shit!" You know, Trump has actually. I was like, "Yeah, put checkbox next to each thing," and it's like, wow, he has gone through all of these reasons in one form or another. And if we ever had a case to tell him to go fuck off and refresh the tree of liberty with the blood of patriots, that we've got the reason right now. I mean, he has so taken a shit on us as a king, and if you just recast him from King George to, you know, Donald Trump, and search and replace the whole thing, you've got a document right now that needs very little updating in terms of the Declaration of Independence against him. You know, I mean, you could just apply it right to Trump, and here we are, right, talking tonight, doing our thing, and
Right.
and it's that close, but yet if you compare the time in which that was written in 1776, right after Thomas Paine came out with Common Sense. By the way, if you haven't read that pamphlet lately, that's a good one to
Oh,
refresh. That is
that
you know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah. But Payne's Common Sense. If you've never read it, you should read it.
Yes.
If you have read it, you should reread it.
Yes. I am so. Yes, I just got it, and I got it in digital form, and I got it in physical form, so I have it in both. But yeah, yes, and my point is the difference though in the time is so markedly different, because we had guns, they had guns. Now it's we have guns, they have
Yeah.
holy shit weapons, right? And as long as that disparity remains, what's our leverage? And it's just basically economic force, and that's it. But then here's my problem. I keep coming back to this every single night when I'm up at, you guys are all in bed and I'm writing my article for the next morning. The thing that keeps bugging the shit out of me every day more and more lately is the fact that it's like the majority of Americans, and I don't mean the people on this call who take the time to give a shit. I'm talking about the people who only respond to literal pain right here, right now. It's so hard to get protest. I mean, we have 1.5 million people. That's great. We've got all these protesters. Why do we not have 77 million people showing up at protests on the weekends? If you had to tell me that there are 76 million or 75.5 million people who got better shit to do with stuff like this going on in Washington, who are that unplugged, or I don't know, do some math off the 334 point some million people that are in this country. You do all that, you subtract the people that are unable, infirmed, whatever, and then the people who think that Trump's just doing a great job with all this, and yet you still have such small numbers by a margin there. And it's like, what does the question I'm getting at is not to bitch. My question is, what exactly does one have to say to this person, this imaginary person I'm trying to build, to get them off their ass? Because that's actually, as a writer, that's my goal, and I want to come up with those words in the right way. I don't want to be mad at them. I want to be able to talk to them, talk with them, and understand their point of view, because I'm obviously not getting it right enough to cause them
So,
you know what I mean? I'm sorry. It's like, how do I do better? I really want to know.
so let me give you that I can give you that argument right now.
Okay.
I recently had a discussion with a Trump supporter,
I'm sorry.
Well,
Go ahead. Sorry.
Lynn, I know where you live. You probably have more of those down there than I do down here.
Well, and he's in Ohio, so I mean, you know why people.
So just here we go. So, and this will go back to the question that Miranda asked. So Miranda, listen up, because this is going to answer that question. And so, talking about the trans issue thing. So I talked to a Trump supporter who DM'd me, and he was like, I don't understand you trans people. Can't you just be happy living in your closet where we don't have to look at you or nothing? And I was like, oh, okay. So you really care about the trans issue? He's like, yeah, I don't want you trans people in sports competing against women. And I said, okay. So let me ask you this question. Do you know how many trans women are in the NCAA? And he's like, well, no. And I'm like, here's the statistic from the NCAA website. It's 10 people. He's like, all right. What's your point? And I'm like, okay, now you care about those 10 people, you care about those 10 people more than you care about the 60 women who die every day because they don't have access to female reproductive care because they have an ectopic pregnancy that they can't abort because abortion is illegal and it kills them. And he was like, yeah. And I said, okay, so 10 trans people playing in sporting events, that's more important to you than 60 women who are dying every day because they don't have access to proper female reproductive care. You want those 60 people to die more than you want the 10 trans women to play.
Rephrase it.
Yeah, and so I had to rephrase it like 5 or 6 different ways with him. And finally he said, well, no, I guess I don't want those women to die either. And I said, okay, well then which is it? Do you take the 60 women that are dying every day because they don't have access to female reproductive care because abortion has been banned? Or do you continue to ban trans people? Well, why can't I have both? And I'm like, because you voted for Trump. And so you care about the 10 trans people. You don't give a shit about all the people that are dying because they don't have access to female reproductive care.
Yeah.
That says that the amount of the loss of life you give a shit about, you don't care about the loss of life. You care more about some random fucking social issue.
Right.
Or whatever. And he's like, yeah, well, it don't matter because Trump's going to deport your ass to El Salvador while all them other trans people. And I'm like, really? Okay. So on top of that, you support the president violating the Constitution. Well, that's not in the Constitution. Due process. Yeah. Yes, it is. And he like cussed a whole bunch in the Substack DM, and he said a bunch of shit in the Substack DM that was really fucking funny or whatever. And he was like, fuck you, this, whatever. And finally I was like, that doesn't change it. You literally just told me you care more about 10 trans people not doing shit than you do 60 women dying every day from improper health care or whatever. That really says a fucking lot. Well, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Fake news, alternate facts, whatever. And then he blocked me.
Good. Sorry. But yeah. But is okay. So let me ask the other question. I don't want to be like a difficult prick, but I do want to ask the question because I'm genuine about talking through this, which is that guy, is that representative? In other words, I go back to why do we have 1.5 million people showing up to protest, which is awesome. It could be 500, and that would be a hell of a lot less than 1.5 million. So good. Yay, we've got that. But why not triple digit millions, right? And my question about what is it I'm not saying effectively enough? What message am I? What is the thing that
I don't
needs to be
miss
said? And my question is this guy another statistical anomaly in the grand scheme of things? Because I'm missing something that is more mainstream that's going to catch people's attention, or are people actually
pain.
right? And that's where I go, and it's like economic pain. You got. That's why everybody
Can't
flips
talk
the fuck out on the stock market.
experience it. They're going to have to experience it.
Yes, Lynn is completely right. We have not reached the litmus for where societal pain has affected enough people. When that societal pain happens, now here's the thing, I guarantee you, if they fuck around with Medicaid,
Oh, that bang!
that's going to do it.
That there was an article in the Wall Street Journal. It wasn't today, but it was yesterday, I think, where he talked about Trump was it was one of those inside sources say type thing, and it
Right.
wasn't direct quotes of administration officials, but they're basically saying Trump's now on that point where he's like, look, numerically, I can't. There is no fucking way I am going to be able to balance to come up with a budget and simultaneously retain the tax cuts for the ultra wealthy and be able to retain the tax cuts for the lower I think it's the under 400 million a year people, and then also be able to fund Medicare and Medicaid and Social Security. I mean, because those right there, we just blew through a couple $1 trillion right in that sentence, and then I mean, just in the services part, and then be able to do all this. So we're in a situation where, yeah, he's got very few options left. So he's weighing, saying, you know what, of choosing how I want to lose in this particular situation. I'm ready to start talking about making the pain happen for the ultra wealthy, which is great. Again, Wall Street Journal, how many times have I heard them say one thing that's kind of right leaning and or whatever that they assert is true, and then poof, it just disappears. So, and it wasn't one of those like I'm putting this in a policy statement type thing from Trump like he ever does, but it wasn't that.
I don't think
So,
capacity to think this thing through. I really honestly don't.
oh, who did you say
I
didn't
said
think of?
I don't think Trump has the capacity to think things through.
No, no, but really, you can do this in the Oval Office. You could do this with a set of Lego bricks with him. You could say, "This is, literally, this is your 400. You got $4 trillion. You've got a problem with, and you got to find that fucking 4 trillion somewhere. You can print it and blow up the economy. So take that out. You can cut it here and kill the tax cuts over here for the wealthy, or you know what I mean. There's just only so many ways you can move the Lego bricks around on the table.
About really thinks there's anything that's going to do him if the Medicare, Social Security. I really don't cares.
No, Lynn, you're right. He
Wait,
literally,
no. I'm sorry. I just want to make sure. Did you say you don't think he cares about whether it gets cut or not?
I don't know. I don't think I don't think he cares about the people involved. I don't thinks ahead that
Oh,
there's
yeah.
implications to this, that there'll be any blowback to it. It's just he's gonna quit.
Well, what he does. Well, to answer this question, then, for help me understand, answer this question with respect to he may not care about the people from a human perspective, but he cares about them from a voter. Voter must show up at polls. He can, unless he's got a grander plan to just negate that whole thing, and we just don't need elections anymore. He's got to get. He knows he's got to get through the midterms, right? Or else he's fucked. And
yeah.
that I think he does understand. Tell me if you disagree, but
Mm,
I'm sort of, like he understands voters, and he understands if I got this, I'm going to be shit out of runway to do
yeah,
anything. you
But
know.
and look at the SAVE Act. I mean, he's going and trying to, by supporting this, disenfranchise the people that would be most affected by Medicaid, not Medicare, but Medicaid.
Yeah, and those people I think didn't get up off the couch to go vote last November, by the way.
No,
And but go ahead. I'm sorry. What were you going to
So,
say?
so yeah. So here's the thing. I, his behavior, just based on his psychological behavior, he doesn't look that far ahead. He gets up about here, and then either his attention drops off or whatever fucking thing happens next. But he gets about here, and then that's it. And so
Right.
if it doesn't
here's
go
what
for the
here,
weekend,
here happens. Which, by the way, can everybody still hear me? Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, okay. So here's what happens. Something happens. There's some disastrous screw up, or there's some thing that happens. So, like, for example, the tariffs. The tariffs happened the way they happened. The market dropped out, and he was like, whoa, 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 okay, hold on. This is a bad idea. And it's like he got up that far, and then he didn't see that, like, over here somewhere, the market was going to get fucked up, and that was going to happen. So he's saying that now, and he won't listen to the people who are advising him. I just don't think he does.
Mm.
On top of the fact that his executive order runs, I think he's just getting handed those, and
Oh yeah.
he's not writing them. They just hand them to him, and he signs them, and then it goes on. And so
Right.
there's this layer of subterfuge that's going on around where this is all being managed, and Trump is just at the fucking top of it or whatever. And so it's all just a crock of shit.
But so are you saying that you don't think he is connected to the idea of cause and effect between the
Long range, no.
No, yeah, definitely not. Long range, no. Definitely not.
well, is your definition of long range the midterms or
More than
longer?
I don't even think he. And by the way, Lynn, can I drop you out so that we can bring Deborah in?
yeah. Bye
Yeah,
bye.
because I want to talk to Deborah.
Okay.
I love talking to you too.
You can drop me off too if you wanted.
No.
All right.
Okay, here we go. So we're going to try to get Deborah to come in because I think Deborah's opinion is important. So Deborah, if you see a pop up, please accept it or whatever. Oh gosh, come on. That was going to be really cool if you were willing to talk. But anyway, so I don't think that we'll hear. Then what we'll do is we'll bring Miranda in because Miranda is also very chatty today. No, I don't think that he doesn't. He doesn't think that far ahead.
Wow. And so, I mean, you talk about the whole House of Representatives, right? 2 years, that's their term. They all gotta, go wind up and do this thing coming up next year. And it's like, okay, there are districts. God, every morning when I need entertainment, I got a whole playlist of shit of the town halls where they light these people on fire, in Republican red districts. Holy shit. I just get a laugh out of it because they're practically climbing over chairs. And Trump's like, oh, those are hired, Democratic, blah, blah, blah. Bullshit. These are not. These are our hot voters.
No, I don't know if you know or if you heard about it, but down here in Georgia, Marjorie Trashy Green had a town hall. And Deborah, don't be shy. God, Deborah, I'm a 52-year-old trans woman. If I am a little shy, you're definitely not. You're definitely not. Miranda, I just sent it to you. So everybody should tell Deborah it's okay.
It's okay, Deborah.
Yeah, Deborah, it's okay. We're all friends here.
Absolutely.
I mean, I didn't do my makeup tonight, so I look like shit. So don't even worry about that. So, Deborah, if I send you another invite, you should totally join. But no, he doesn't. And two, I don't think he's looking towards the midterms. He doesn't think that far fucking ahead. And I don't think that we're going to get close to that. I don't think we're going to get close to it at all. And so.
So do you think he's going to actually tell Johnson, oh, hey, down there with the Ways and Means Committee and whatever, just, find me that 880 billion, like way right now, and fuck it, if that means we're going to have 5 people running Social Security and we'll have, we'll just blow away the 880 billion to get to my 4 trillion. Go right ahead. Do you think he's going to do that? I mean, I just, wow, I have a hard time wrapping my head around. I'm not saying he can't. I'm curious what you think.
No, I don't. Yeah, I think he can. I think he can say that. He can say that all the fuck he wants.
Oh, that's good. I love it.
He can say that all the fuck he wants, but he does not. No, he does not.
I just have this vision popping through my head of Mike Johnson working at like an In-N-Out burger in California or something. Oh man, he would be, because that's all. I mean, his career options go from Speaker of the House straight down an elevator to hell, right into McDonald's territory.
No, I completely agree.
He that guy, I wouldn't hire that fucker to do anything. So sorry, excuse me, that editorial, but
no. But yeah, I don't think that he's definitely not.
Wow. Yeah. And Miranda, you said something. I saw it fly by on the screen. I didn't have time to react at the moment, but you said something about you think about this in your own writing. And it's like, you think about the stuff I was talking about. I think that was the reference, but it was the idea that, hey, it's.
Can you see me, Wendy?
Hey.
Oh, I can see you.
All right, cool.
Oh, yeah, I can see you.
You've got some great comments, Ann. I love your comments. Oh, bless you. That is the most beautiful.
Oh, and just let it fly.
just do.
I'm gonna shut up now. Just let it fly.
You know, I've come from the era where you can't you could say the R word and a short bus, and Trump needs to be on that short bus because he's retarded.
Yeah.
There's something wrong with the man. I'm telling you, there's something wrong with him, and he sees all of us as marks.
Yeah, you said that earlier. I caught that. I wanted to say something, and you're so right. It's weird. It's freaky how true that is. It's something where I go, wow, we are all just on this list with this guy.
Right. That's right. And he wakes up every morning and looks in the mirror and say, "Who can I fuck over today?"
Yeah.
And it don't matter whether it's a member of his cabinet.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know he calls little Marco? He calls him little Marco.
Oh my God.
Yes, he does. He does.
Wow.
Oh my God,
he doesn't say Marco Rubio or what is that, Secretary Rubio? He just says little Marco.
Yeah. Hey, and if you want to chuckle too, I was searching one day to find information about negative web content about Donald Trump, right?
Yeah.
And bang, the second or third page that came up on Google search was a page, or is a page still active out there, that was put out by who? Marco Rubio. And it's still running full. I mean, the voltage is on that website, still powering that page that just absolutely shreds Trump. And he's working in his Secretary of State position, and it's like this giant takedown of all these horrible things. Just Google, I don't know, Google propaganda, bad stuff about Trump, and it'll pop right up, and it's from his 2016 president, from not Trump's president, from Rubio's 2016 presidential run,
Uh-uh.
and it's
Oh,
still
okay.
running out there, just full force. It's going, baby, and it's like, wow, they didn't even bother to take that down, and he's
I
just.
wonder what he has on Rubio because I
Yeah,
mean,
I know it's there. He treats him like a dog. I mean,
I mean, it's not. It can't be pretty.
you know what I was thinking? I would say, well, while you're at it, why don't you just suck his dick,
yeah, that's true. That's absolutely true. Every
I
time
mean,
I
just
look at it,
saying.
I have these visions of JD Vance, Marco Rubio. I can't
That's
get him out
right.
of my head, and I'm going to hell. I really am, because that is.
Whoa,
I
whoa,
just.
whoa, wait, wait. You know JD Vance is gay, right?
You know,
Yeah,
Oh, oh yeah,
he
he's
hung around with Teal, and Teal's absolutely gay, and
Rick,
and
Rick,
and
Rick,
and
Rick, do you wear mascara?
me? Fuck
Yeah.
no. You
Well,
know.
yeah, you got your answer there. And when a man is not available, he'll do the couch.
Well, I right, but I mean, have you ever looked at his wife, Lucia? I swear to God, I look at her and two words go through my head: Stockholm syndrome, right? And I'm like, blink twice, Lucia, if you want us to send a rescue party, because I swear to God, it looks like you need it, and
Right,
and
right.
it's
I
I
just
have
said
to
I said as much myself. She looks like a trapped animal.
she
I
does.
I
Ah.
have to know what NDA she was forced to sign
Yeah, like
before
okay,
she
Lucia,
married him.
sign right here. Here's the gun, right? And
Because have you ever seen JD Vance in drag? He did it
I
more than once.
Yep, I seen it. I didn't want to see it, and I can't unsee it.
I
But yeah,
know.
it's pitiful. It's pitiful. Ooh.
I mean, I'd be the first person. I don't want JD Vance to be on the queer team. I really don't.
Yeah.
But I
Sometimes you
fully
just gotta you get what you get.
And another one is Mike Johnson.
Oh
All he
yeah.
has
uh,
to do is come out the closet. That's all he has to do.
well,
Yeah.
there's a bunch of screenshots floating around of people who were posting grinder pics
Uh
of him. Hey,
Wow.
I'm in DC for like the next couple of weeks. Let's get together. Can you can you send me a pic? And then it's a picture of Mike Johnson or whatever. And I saw that and I was like, oh my god, that's. But here's the thing, that could be true.
Right there, Craig. Sorry.
huh. Oh
Oh,
my God, it's a shame. It is a shame what we are under now. It is a shame.
oh,
Yeah.
oh!
I
It's
didn't
a
think I would live this long. I served in the military to see this country just turn around like that, and it's saddening to me. So I have to laugh about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Mhm.
It's terrible. It's terrible. It's terrible. That's why I like thinking that Trump will.
Oh,
oh. Oh,
lost.
we just lost Ann. Ann, I don't know what happened. I'll reinvite you. Hold on. Oh,
Oh God, Craig.
Craig, you're killing it. You're killing it. Uh, you're you're killing it.
Wow.
I know. I right. It's just the gift that keeps on giving, right?
Right.
Uh,
Well, while we're waiting on that, it's true. It puts it in a weird light for me, because there's people. I'm trying to think of the other guy from I think Carolina. The oh God, it's on the tip of my tongue. He's a senator, who's the not gay guy. Uh, just a little bit older than me, probably. anyway, whatever. My point is, these people who are just you just know, your gaydar goes off, and it's like, yeah, that's probably that they're probably gay. Don't know for sure. Haven't said they are, but. And it's like you go, wow, this has got to be tough on the community of gay folks who are like, well, and it's like it is actually it's like, wow, you got to take them. You can't. There's just no way there's no admission form that you can reject to that particular club, because it's not it's not a club, and there's no admission form. So it's really, 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 really Lindsey Graham. That's it. Thank you very much. That's the guy I was thinking of, and he's one that is wow, the least talked about gay guy. But anyway, yeah, I don't know. We've talked about a lot. I don't know. Were there any other bombshells that fell out of the sky that I missed while I was catching up on sleep this afternoon? I think that not
Like
that this.
the only other real big one was um, the Chicago Teachers Union has signed a contract to give Trump the finger, and then and then RFK Jr. has come out and said
Oh God,
that
yeah.
Section 504 of the Rehabilitation Act gives him the ability to discriminate against trans people, and he'll do it because it's legal, and fuck trans people. And then the UK thing. We should talk about the UK thing really quick before we term out. Miranda, I keep sending you invites. So I'm inviting like a bunch of people here all at the same fucking time, and it's crazy. I don't get why people aren't coming. So
Is there is there a place we can go to Substack and bitch about it? Because I
I'm in one of a variety of different chat crosses where we bitch about it.
That's because I wanted to actually do, before I pull the plug and start doing so, or go that route. I really want to hear them tell me what their plans are for this, because it's not. There's a lot of Substacks are having problems with this, and you know it, I know it. It's like it's an infrastructure issue. So anyway.
Yeah. So here's the thing. So the UK, the United Kingdom Supreme Court has come back and said that trans women are not women. And this is on the cusp of J.D. Vance, who is pushing the United Kingdom to end all protections for LGBTQIA people. And so the conspiracy around this is it is believed that Vance is doing this to force the UK to end queer protections, and they're using the tariffs as a bargaining chip. So Trump and the administration is telling the UK, if you end queer protections, then we will call the tariffs off. And so, I think the broader spectrum of this is, I think that Trump is going to use the tariffs to control other countries into doing what the fuck he wants them to do.
So my first honest question to that is, what earthly reason does any of these people that we're talking, Trump, Vance, whoever, Rubio, why did they care? I mean, what is it? Because I worked in the UK for a year back at about 2006, and I was over there, and there's absolutely, it is a totally different culture on so many levels. I can't even begin to get into it, and I'm sure people have had way, 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 way more different experiences than me in other cultures. It's like, why are we even in the middle of that conversation when we have so much shit right here in our, in the 50 state union we've got. Why are we twisting arms on that kind of shit when there's seems to be, from a prioritization perspective, it seems like they either have a very big problem prioritizing, or what to go after with their bargaining chips, or they've got some agenda for, if I eliminate this, it causes that. And I just don't see, if it's that, I don't know what the connected pieces are that give them any benefit, other than we hate trans people because of reasons. Well, okay. Shit.
Yeah,
I hate cloudy days because of reasons. That's about as far as it goes, right?
yeah, I think that it is a desire to regulate, internalize, and then uh, progenitor a larger narrative.
So you think it wants to come back around our way
Yeah,
at some point? Okay.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah. And
Wow.
so, the beginning of that narrative is to, just like Hitler, you focus on one very small group of people, and you build up enough hatred for that small group of people, and then you incite violence against, uh, you know, fascism depends entirely on hierarchy and then a scapegoat. There always has to be a scapegoat. Um, so, yeah,
Well, and wow, don't I mean, of all the groups, and I hate, I don't want to, there's good and bad within every spectrum you can imagine, right? But it's like, of all the groups, why even trans, right? It's not even, it's not, name me one, just one, that really is poster child for anything that is really, that in all honesty, it's the most, in general, my trans friends are the most reasonable, intelligent, and articulate people that I know. And I'm not blowing smoke at anybody. I'm just saying, if from a, intellectual and emotional, of having been drugged through the coals and the broken glass and everything else, there's so much maturity that tends to come along with it, that it's not, I mean, after a certain life experience period, there seems to be more maturity that is a result of that. And it's just like the dumbest possible group to go after, if you're trying to incite hate, because these people don't understand that they're fighting, and they're fighting a mindset that they're kung fu masters at dealing with hate and tuning people out and saying, thank you for your fucking opinion, next. I don't need you, and being perfectly okay with that. There's no getting under so many skins there. So I don't know. I don't get it. I'm deeply concerned by the level of dumb. So let's go on. I am. That's just wow.
Oh, Astrid. Oh, Astrid.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't. I honestly, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well. Wow. So wow, we really we're biting at 8:27. We're probably I know I have to get going with some stuff here on my end too. So we're
Yeah. I actually gotta. Do I need to eat dinner? I don't know. I can't remember. I can't fucking remember.
these days just poof, yeah.
No, it's fucking gone already. Jesus Christ. I don't. Shit. Wait, we still have Deborah. Wait, Deborah, we didn't scare Deborah off. That's probably a good sign. All right. Well, Rick, let's call it a night.
All right. Well, have a good one, everybody, and you, Wendy, take care. We'll talk to you.
Always, Rick. Always.
Bye.
Oh, well, shit. That was a really good session. Holy crap. Um, that's been one of the longest we've had in a while. Um, so I will tell everybody thank you for being a paid subscriber. If you're a paid subscriber to the sub, you're why we're doing all this shit every night to keep everybody in shape and everybody going. If you're a free subscriber, thank you for being a free subscriber. I will tell you, I got like 25 notifications that I got like 25. We got 25 subs today. So thank you for all of you that did subscribe. Um, if you're a free subscriber, consider becoming a paid subscriber. You get a discount on the book that'll convince you I'm a giant asshole. Um, Amongst other things, you actually get to talk to me one-on-one in person. So, because I one-on-one with all the paid subs constantly. Um, with that, I will admonish all of you. If you're in a safe space, stay where you are. Stay in a safe space. Um, if you're not in a safe space, get to a safe space. If you need help, contact one of us. We all have resources. We can all help. Um, you know, we can all get there and be safe. Um, but it's important. I need all of you, and we need each other to get through this, or we're not going to survive this um, without all of you. So, with that, I will tell all of you, please be strong, stay firm, unity, and I love all of you. And good night.